does it have any security to that? Because you stop and think about it, they're all talking about a thing of where a person takes your computer over, and if you don't they ransom your computer data and all that. On stuff
Okay.
like that, you would think should have something there for that purpose. Or if they do, what depth of it of of the process, how it works.
I'm not sure where you're going with this. As far as Microsoft Windows is concerned, it mainly relates to things like memory caps. As far as Windows is concerned, or Intel is concerned, or the x86 architecture is concerned, 32 bits has a limit of 4 gigabytes of RAM. I can't go over 4 gigabytes RAM.
Because it's like one, it does a thing where it works on. I guess it keeps the board going. Works it. Because on one it says that it works with the board.
You could argue it's a fallback to the old 486 and 386 days.
I just thought of something. I could kick on Robert's OBS, put the filters on. He does have OBS on his computer. What about that? Now, since Robert's on here, I do have an idea. Now, I keep forgetting this because he's been on twice, but there's stuff that I could on here. Your take on it, because you know that there's stuff that I talk to you about grudge. There's things that I do when it comes to stuff grudge, and I wanted to talk to you and ask you a question. Do you cool with that?
Oh yeah, that's okay.
That's
How long as he don't mind with some of the ideals that I pop up with.
He probably would. Mark would probably agree with you on a lot of it, to be honest.
Maybe.
Well, we'll see.
So before I start getting into the old questions that I was never able to get through, that the robot put up in our chat, which is saying stuff, I want to start out easy because I was talking with Mark about this before you came on, and it was a Bullhorn Barry. He's a member of Minds.com. He is on Censorship Sucks with this guy, John Galt. They're all into alternative media or alternative news. And he had to take Jack Carey's spot on Dragus Production for an hour, and he tried to talk about aliens. Now he did his best. He did it really for his attempt. It was really good, okay, but he started getting into the conversation of aliens and then crossbreeding it with Jesus.
The alternative news, otherwise known as woo-woo news, insane speculation.
Say that again, Rich. I wasn't for sure. I heard you right.
He started talking about aliens, and he of course started talking about Jesus.
Okay.
So first of all, what's your take on blending Jesus in with UFOs and aliens? What's your take on it?
Well, it depends on a few things. Now, they say that it's hard to say what is God. A lot of people have these weird things about different religions and all that, and Well, if they say an alien is God, and how they went down and got with women that they were here in the from the past. I don't know. It just seems a little bizarre. I about uh, God merging or like you were saying that. I don't know. That sounds a little.
Again, you've got to define what you mean by alien. I mean, to use the
Well, there's
Greek, I think Greek, it would be just a being of not of this place.
well, they're saying on shows there's like 12 different types of aliens. Okay, brands of aliens, and out of them all, they put this thing like God created us, but we're not saying that they're aliens. Okay, and
But he's not of this place, therefore he is an alien. I mean,
yeah,
I could argue if I entered the US, then I'm an alien to the US because I'm not of the US.
unless you're
place.
hovering above ground, where you're showing that you got the power of lightning bolt shooting out of your fingers, or you're flying without no problem, like they're saying about some of the aliens. And I'm like, okay, it's quite possible, but until they can come up with, like they're saying, how we come into Earth is by aliens taking their DNA, merging it with the ape. Okay, I'm like, okay, and when all this is supposed to have happened, and the Ice Age and all that, where they're saying during all these times that happened, it just seems really peculiar about how everyone, the progression of life started, like
I've got a real problem using with the entire alien and God thing. You could argue that what you're talking about is extraterrestrial aliens, but is God not an extraterrestrial being anyway? He didn't come from this planet.
that's what they're claiming. Okay, but they're saying that our DNA and I can't pronounce the hominoids or something, hominids, the way they progressed way too fast, and during that time there was over 12, I think it was 12 groups of different hominids on Earth during that whole time, and the ones that were from progressed higher than any of the others that they're saying.
Okay, Darwinism, evolution, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's
evolution of the fittest. Carry on.
But then when they were talking about that, I'm like, okay, and they found like different types of bones from each of them and all that. And they made a big old family tree of all of it. And when they did that thing in NASA, and they found, and they when they shot the asteroid, I mean not asteroid but comet, and got some of that stuff, the shells and all that from it, they brought it back and they did a test of it, and they're saying that it was the DNA of it is like on asteroids, all different types of things from space. And but for the depth, they're saying of how humans progressed and all that, how fast compared to other life forms, like elephants and all that, and the size of your brain. It's just how hard of what do they can. It's like it is bizarre, but they're saying that we and well, if God made it like the way they did, like the people have said, well, need to watch out because, as they said, uh, during the times of through this history for what they
Okay, I think I've lost you. Okay, I think I've lost you. Ah, okay. I thought I lost you for a minute.
where it's is now.
Lost you.
Yeah,
Ah,
I'll
got
say
you back.
now.
Sorry, I lost you for a minute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I can.
Okay, how does it sound?
Oh, fine, fine.
Okay, and well, they're saying that with God and all that, and how aliens are supposed to be creation of us, and they got into a thing of battles and fights and all that about how the condition of the human people during that time.
See, I had to bring that up because or you're gonna you need to pause or mute your audio there.
Okay.
But yeah, I wanted to mention that I have some more questions to him. I'm gonna start hitting him pretty hard with Mr. Robot's questions when he gets back from the bathroom. I wanted to open it up there because he's really big on the whole ancient aliens thing. It drives him nuts because I'll turn that on the TV and he just goes nuts over it. And then I'm obsessed with watching alien shows when I go to sleep. So he gets pretty fired up about that whenever I do that to him. Because he'll freaking hear it on television all day long, so I figured I'd ask questions about it.
Oh, not the History Channel.
Well, sometimes I do the History Channel, not as bad as what I the ancient alien stuff. Like the other day, Nick Pope ended up passing away. I really did like him, but I liked him more on what was it? Alien Files, I think is what it was. I forgot what the name of it was. It's one of the best ones that they actually came out with, to be honest. But whenever he comes back, I want to about the stuff I was talking.
Again, this is all speculation.
This isn't speculation.
Or it was a fantasy.
It's something. It's just not speculation. When you
It is
speculate,
speculation.
well, I mean, how do you term the, or how do you define the term speculation? Like, you got speculative science.
Yeah.
You're saying speculative science is the same as ufology?
Yeah, speculation. I
But what specific speculation are you talking about? Like there, people always say there's different meanings of it.
Well, like
speculation. I'll use the. Well, okay, I'll have to go to the Oxford English Dictionary to give you a definition of the word
hold on,
speculation.
No, that's not what I'm
let
referring
me say something. Like speculative science, okay? Actually, they base all of their theories off of scientific theory. They don't go into, you know, just ideas and throw them out there. It's all scientific.
In the chat before we started today, we were talking about what were we talking about? The universe going expanding,
Right.
and didn't you say that it was a theory?
The theory, right? And see that is a scientific theory about monopoles. Okay, and they are doing research to try to prove that monopoles exist,
to.
but they haven't come close to it yet. Like, have you ever seen those videos where they show like ice and then they have a piece of metal that hovers above that cold, freezing surface, and it floats above the freaking metal without. It's free energy, is what they're trying to say. If they can actually prove that the monopoles exist, they can actually create free energy. You know what I mean?
Even though it's not free energy, because you still got, it's like I pointed out on, I think, the Fixins ones, like you still got to, or actually no, yesterday, Thursday's show, one of Thursday's shows, it's not free energy, because you still got to maintain the infrastructure, you still got to create the infrastructure.
Well,
There's no such thing as free energy, because how do you harness that energy? The sun is free energy, but without solar panels, how are you harnessing that energy?
You know what monopoles are, right?
Go
I
on.
don't.
Monopoles, okay, on a magnet you have positive and
Okay.
negative cell. Okay, you have positive and negative. Now, if you take a magnet and you get rid of one of those, that's a monopole. Okay, that's where it's just positive or negative, and there's no other side to the magnet. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So just imagine like a magnet with maybe a north and no south, or a positive and no negative, or a negative and no positive.
So they would retract from each other, yeah.
So that's where the theory of the universe freaking expanding comes from. But they have to prove, in order for that to go from theory to being fact, they have to prove that a monopole exists, because that would prove that the universe can expand.
Mhm.
Okay? So until that day comes, all they can say is it's a theory.
Yeah, but they did some of the scientists. They did that thing, like in the Mexico. What country? The big pyramids in Mexico, right? That one and the others. They did a thing, because when they do the north and south, the lineup and all that of the thing, they found out that during from when they were actually built, the pyramids, all of them pyramids and everything that was built from that time until now, it lost its lineup from north to south. It's off. It is. And they did the line where it shows, okay, where the poles would be at that time, where the north and south poles they move, they do. And they're saying that the poles slowly move by going towards east, not east, but the west. And they did a thing that shows that from the time there until now, it's off center. It is the building, the alignment on there.
See what they're doing there is they're going off of the great year. They're also
Yeah, but
That's
the
what they-
sun too.
well, no, it's the Earth has a wobble. Okay, it doesn't rotate in a perfect circle. It wobbles as it turns. Okay, and that wobble does change. And eventually, you know, like those old tops, spinner tops they used to have, where you freaking you pull the string or you twist it and it twists. You know what I'm talking about? The
Yeah,
old spinners. Now that's the basic concept. That's what the Earth is. I'm having coughs now. Sorry.
But they were showing on there that, well, there was three other places that the line showed up. One was in like like in Canada, well, somewhere in Canada, where the poles were at one specific time, and it was three different places where the lines showing up, and they were showing it on there about. And I was asking one question, like, okay, for all these people that mysteriously disappeared through the years of, and they were saying about Agent Aliens. Well, and these people, there was no sign of them after the disappearing. And the weird thing about glass, how long, like the rocks were so hot they were that they almost turned into solid glass after, and they had to let it cool to where it gets to that point. And like in Australia, New Zealand, no,
Now you're getting confused.
yeah, I can't think of the country. It's right there. New,
I'm gonna have to step away because I have got this really bad cough coming in, and I'm gonna have to drink coffee or something. You can actually hear it in the background with Robert's mic, so at least outside of the. So keep talking, Robert. We're listening.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's right there. England. Oh,
Okay.
Really cool.
We live in another place. What's
Ireland. That's where it was at.
Okay.
It was a
Okay.
big old area there that they showed there that the building it's real smooth. It's like a real fine smooth where you touch it and it feels almost like glass almost. And they said the only way that can happen is if high concentration of like fire, more or less. And if you for that to happen, it would have to be there for quite a long while to change that rock into like that.
Mhm.
And they said that during that time there was an area, and it was no other area around there was affected, but that specific building out there in the middle of nowhere. And
Okay, so before you go on, I have the next question that I wanted to get to because we were talking about aliens, UFOs, and Jesus.
Yeah. God,
Now, this moves on to some of Mr. Robot's crazy stuff. Now, what I want to ask you is this. There is an article that was put out back in 2025, November 2025, where a Harvard professor had claimed that humanity could face an attack from intergalactic aliens. Okay, and
Okay.
that was supposed to be according to recent reports.
I think I remember the article. Yeah.
Now, the warning basically sparked a lot of debate and skepticism. Okay. Now, a lot of people dismissed it as sensationalism, right? But other ones took it pretty serious. Uh, what is your uh, opinion when it comes to you remember Three Eye Atlas, don't you, Robert?
The what?
Three Eye Atlas.
I think so.
It was that meteor that was spotted in orbit around
Oh,
the sun.
okay, yeah, okay, and how it changed the area, how it moved.
Yeah. So when it comes to that and the claim that was made that that the Earth could have faced intergalactic or
Attacked by them.
by them, what's your take on it? Do you think that was sensationalism? Or?
Well, like they're saying about the speed, the trajectory, how it turned and changed, especially when it hit the sun area. They have shown that it on that. It's awful hard to say because they showed that our pieces, when it gets hit by the sun, it changes. Like the sun has a, I don't know how you say it, but they said that, well, how it went right towards the sun, it did, but it was coming close to Earth, and they were watching, and but how it moved, the speed up, it did, the speed in progress, it did, and it more or less looked like, but they made a statement about, like stuff that could be attached to your, like boats. Okay, the stuff on the bottom of the boat. After a while, they had to go down and clean that off. Well, we're not saying there's a craft go through other places, builds up all that stuff onto it, make it look like an asteroid when it's not. And but yeah, and the way they were talking about speed, the how it turned and all that, it's a good possibility. And if that was the case, we really would have been in trouble. And they were showing on there about that they were talking about different ways of like moving an asteroid out of the way, like they were saying that they were thinking that was using like a microwave to hit it and would nudge it to make it want to move that where it wouldn't be getting into Earth's atmosphere just by enough to move it.
Now, tonight we are actually going to be doing another part that gets into kind of this area, because there's also research being taken place when it comes to that. And we've discussed it before. It's called the Planetary Defense in Europe, the ESA, the European Space Agency. Come up with technology that they claim should be able to help deflect impact when it comes to meteors and stuff like that. I don't know if you've been keeping up on it on Facebook or not, but there's been stories that Nancy especially has been putting out, and I'm pretty sure she's getting it off of I always, it's Telegram, but it's about and these are actually in the news. It's about these mysterious disappearances and deaths of scientists who are involved with NASA and JPL. and some of them have been involved in this kind of research, where they've been doing research on assessing impact risks and developing deflection technology. Now they've got one that's out. It's called the Hera mission, which is led by the ESA in Europe. It actively is supposed to participate in like international exercises that are supposed to test this research and everything. They did their largest drill was in 2025 in response to 3i Atlas when it came through. So that's one reason why I wanted to come out with and discuss that tonight at Headlines After. Come in and talk about the outlook. I just figured I'd run it by you and see what your thoughts are. So, what do you think when it comes to what I just said?
Well, I'm going to just state that as far as aliens coming down and taking and enslaving mankind, we've got more pertinent problems at this present moment, financially, more economically, politically. We've got more important issues.
One thing we do got to watch out for. Remember that? What is that? That one where the aliens supposed to come, pick them up, but it was a religious group, for best way I could, and they all committed suicide. They all dressed the same and all that, and it was in California.
Rachel Jacobstown.
Yeah, Heaven's Gate. Okay. He was supposed to have been talking to their God to where they were supposed to come and pick them up. And the guy, the one that he got information from the dog, his neighbor's dog, about killing people. And that's what I'm referring to. People are using this thing about gods, about hearing this and hearing that, but that's a topsy-turvy because you never know. I mean, but when all these ideals are popping up, it makes you wonder.
You want me to kind of elaborate on that? Because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, back in the in 2015, Ancient Aliens came out with this episode where they were saying, or they were talking about aliens being able to, who were mistaken as deities or gods, who were able to transmit information directly into the brain. Okay, and they started using serial killers like the Son of Sam, who said that dogs were giving him information in his head. Okay, this started talking about other things too, like they were talking about I forgot what they were called, but back in the beginning of Christianity, there was a group who would literally antagonize people into attacking them because they wanted them to murder them so they could go to heaven. They could be considered martyrs.
Mm-hmm.
And they got into a lot of this stuff, and they were bringing up the question of are there aliens out there who are putting messages within the human brain to cause people to do stuff?
Maybe, but I would also argue that there is a lot of nuts out in this world.
Which brings us to the most important thing when it comes to robot. Robert, I'm going to ask you, what is your view on remote viewing?
Well, it depends on how that for what they show on there on TV and all that, and the way they talk, okay, remote viewing can be a wide variety of different things. You could be talking about here, or like when you're asleep, and they're saying that when people are asleep, they can view, or they can pick up things when they're asleep as well. Plus, when you put yourself into a certain, how you say, where you're not asleep, but you're like in a state of mind where you don't pay nothing around you. You don't hear. Or you're like in a coma almost, where you're out of your you're out of your body, and you see things and all that. And they have said that people have that ability where they can leave their body, go to places, as long as the body's not moved, they can come back, enter their body, and put all the stuff on paper. And there's others that sees it like they're saying about they can see things and they write it down or and trying to what you call it art it make art out of to where it shows more of it.
Drawing, drawing
Yeah,
out what they
drawing.
see.
Okay.
Now, the thing I wanted to point out is like there is a difference between remote viewing and out of body experiences and astral travel. Now, the other night, Nancy had Robert Morningstar on, and they were talking about this. And the one thing that, especially when it comes to dreamscape, when you're talking about dreamscape, there's the majority of the time what that really is astral. That's not remote viewing. Okay, now remote viewing is when you're still within your body and you're able to see things from different areas or different locations, but you're still in your body, right? Now astral travel is when you're literally supposed to be leaving the body, and that's actually kind of harmful too if you go according to those beliefs, because you're leaving your body unprotected. That's where you can actually, your body can be taken over by somebody else. And Mark talked about walk-ins, and I think Robert actually mentioned it too, but these are people who can actually go in and invade your body and take over while you're out of body, having an out-of-body experience. Now that is all about astral travel. That's not remote view. People who remote view are people who actually can see things and still be within the body. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Well, you can be asleep as well.
Right.
And it's hard to say. Well, it's like I had a dream about when I would come back. We were about to move back here to Illinois. I had a dream about the process and all that, and the areas and all that of my town was in it. It just seems odd, but when I did wake up, it was just a thing that, yeah, it was the weirdest thing, and they're on their thing too. On Ancient Aliens, they're saying that the stuff that they do come up with, it just appears into their minds after, like when they were asleep or something. They get information, and they write it down. And they said that sometimes it's not them, that it just comes to them, and in some strange way, information, technology wise, and all that. Like I can't think of, I forget his name. The one that made the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
Okay, for what they said about him, that for 2 years no one knows where he was at.
Mm-hmm.
He just disappeared or off the planet, more or less. No one's seen him there or anything. And for what he was doing at the what you call the big church, they had them little rooms up in there that was nice and balanced. It wasn't hot and it wasn't cold, but just right. He was cutting into them and writing down all the information that he was doing of the condition of the body, male and female, and everything else about it. And during that time, he was writing down blueprints of crafts like submarines, airplanes, and all that. But they were saying that ancient aliens, someone probably he walked in and to that cave that he likes to go to, but he was gone for 2 years during that time when he was really young.
They also said the same thing with Jesus too. He actually was supposed to have vanished. Wasn't in
Yeah, well, it was through thermal lightning. It lit up the sheet that he was under that made the blueprint of his body of it.
yeah, the shroud of
Current.
turret.
Chewing.
Okay, so now that we've covered that, what I wanted to do is move on to something that came out of the Bible, and this is something that Mr. Robot pushed. I've already gone over this with Mark, and they understand the insanity of it, but you can comment if you want to. We both know Mr.
Anything
Robot.
Mr. Robot says is insane.
Okay, so he says that remote viewing shows that it was clearly reptilian beings living underground that telepathically implanted visions of Moses
Clearly.
and other prophets as an agenda to eventually control the planet. Now,
Obviously, clearly.
yeah, he uses numbers 26 or 21:6 as an example of it. Okay, where King Uzziah died, and during that time it says that he saw the Lord seated on a throne, and he was high and exalted, and the train of his robe filled the temple. Then it goes on to talk about above him stood the seraphim, each having 6 wings, and 2 wings. No, with 2 wings they covered their faces, and with 2 they covered their feet, and 2 they were flying. Now, that's out of the Bible. And then it goes on to say, and they called out to one another, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. All the earth is full of his glory." And they weren't too kind to Isaiah. Because after that, what they ended up having him do is take hot coals. Or they actually took the hot coal, placed it to his mouth. Seraphim. Again, this is all coming out of the Bible, right? And what Mr. Robot was basically saying was that they actually were putting these the telepathic. They implanted visions telepathically into Moses and other prophets in order to control the planet. So, with that being said, what's your take on that?
Planted all that into the mind.
Into their minds.
Okay. Did they have
These reptilian aliens? Some of them are, and some of them are from under the ground.
what section of what country is it from?
No, this is happening all over the planet. This is
Yeah, but what I'm saying is we're supposed to have the ant. Okay. I forget where it was at in what country that people were under the ground protected by the supposed the ice age Viperian. Okay. And then there was the praying mantis as well that was helping them in that one.
Now, if you want to get into it now, in the ancient Sumerian myths, they had the Apokala. This is supposed to be in the area around Iraq. These are semi-divine sages, Mesopotamian mythology. Now, they're created by the god Enki, who is also known as Ea. Okay, and they were sent to establish culture and impart civilization onto humanity. Okay, now they're often described as emerging sweet waters of the Abzu, which is under the ground. Okay, that's the primeval sea, and they're credited with like teaching humans essential skills like agriculture, writing, architecture, law. Okay. So in terms of appearance, the Apkallu are depicted in three primary forms. That's the fish cloaked, and then the bird-headed, and the human-headed, and they're often with wings. So the fish cloak form shows a human figure wearing a fish skin that covers the body, with the fish's head rested atop the human head and the tail hanging down the back. Okay, now this form is sometimes interpreted as a man in a full fish costume cloak rather than a literal hybrid. You know what I mean? So
One thing that really annoys me about all of this is it is always these beings are teaching man how to do things. Yeah, i.e., humans haven't got the intelligence to be able to work these things out for themselves. So,
Well, yeah, but when they're talking about when you start construction of making blocks and all that, and they were explaining this on some of these big old places. You're talking like best way I can put it is 7 tons of a block, and how from 20 miles away, how it get from there to where.
yeah, but that doesn't happen overnight. We don't decide to start bashing rocks together, and the next day we've created the pyramids.
Yeah.
It happens over a gradual amount of time.
well, historically, that's exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
What? One day we woke up, start bashing rocks, and
Yes.
the next day we're building pyramids.
Yeah, but now-
really?
Hold up, we have no idea how they came up with the knowledge to build those pyramids, dude. It's like just one day, somebody woke up and said, "Man, I'm
Trial
gonna-"
and error, intelligence.
Where, dude?
There we are meant to be intelligent beings. Sometimes I have to question that, but we are meant to be intelligent.
They had a few of them that were messed up, where it went up and then it sloped a bit up on the top.
What they call that one a black pyramid, the black pyramid that they went inside. The other one did. You know, the big old poles. They have the special where it blueprints the building by using a radar, not radar, but like infrared, where it takes
So, yeah.
and they take it and it looks through the walls and all the blueprints it more or less, instead of doing it the old way of art where you sketch it out on paper. But they go through the whole place quicker, they do, but they winds up taking the outside of it, the depth and all that, puts it on a computer, and it shows as far as that guy goes with that pole, everything about the building, the distance, the depth, and all that. And they were showing it about the writing on the walls. First time I actually seen anything writing on the walls there in Egypt on that black pyramid. And they were showing the construction and all that. Why a whole lot more than what Ancient Aliens did. They showed the thing about
Of course,
the
of course. Humans haven't got any intelligence. They've got no intuitive capability, so it must be done by external forces. It must be done by aliens.
Well,
Yeah.
Let me go further with this then, since we've already got you stirred up here. So, Mr. Robot went on to say that an AI therapist went haywire and urges users to go on a killing spree.
A large language model,
Yeah.
Elsa or something, Alyssa, sorry,
Now,
something.
he started to read that, and he thought this stuff, and he thought it was pretty wild, and he didn't know that it was actually true. When he started getting into the explanation, he started talking about Hubbard's World Future Society and how it was listed as a forecasting resource alongside the CIA and a U.S. Army psychological operation, PSYOP, and it was authored by Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino, guy who was investigated for child sexual abuse involving satanic rituals. Now, Hubbard also cultivated co-creation of global consciousness with fellow evolutionist Lieutenant Colonel Jim Channon, who set up the U.S. Army's 1st Earth Battalion of New Age Psychic Soldiers. Now, that was actually the real operation prior to the movie Men Who Stare at Ghosts. And that's the weird part. Like, everybody watches that movie and they think that that's just comedy, but it was actually inspired off of real.
I have never watched that one.
oh, and there's another one. There was another movie they made, and actually was a true story. Because at the end of it, they said that they had to do an investigation because this one guy, the government was wanting to find the best way to make their army where they're more awakened for 24 hours, stay more focused and all that. And what they did is they made up this stuff, but then what they did is they inserted into the food of the military there. It was a whole battalion.
Quick question for you. Is it a true story or is it based upon a true story?
Well, based, but they found
there is a big difference there. I could say, well, I went out to the supermarket yesterday and I got beamed up to a UFO. Well, it's based upon a true story. I went out to the supermarket, which is a true factual store thing.
yeah, but what they were referring to is the group that was done to. Okay, after they got done eating and they all went to lay down and all that. Well, next few hours they all went berserk. They did and started shooting each other. And during that whole time, it was only one guy that was left.
Well, you got to be careful right there because you're actually talking about Jacob's Ladder, was a movie that came out, and that's very controversial because a lot of people don't know for sure if that's actually based off of real incidents that happened. That goes off of Agent Orange. The Agent Orange experiment took place in Vietnam. And if you've ever watched Jacob's Ladder, it's a trip. And you really should check it out because and I'm glad you mentioned that because that's a really good. A lot of people don't talk about Jacob's Ladder. That was really, really good.
And about that, what you guys were talking about before, you can make someone do something, but you still have to think about it. If you know how they say you take a tape, and if you want to do something, well, like train your mind for a certain specific thing that you want done. Okay, you sit down and you record that word over and over again on tape. Then when you get ready to go to sleep, you put that earphones over your ears and listen to it when you're asleep, but your mind adjusts to what's on that tape. Okay. But if you want someone to hallucinate and all that, we're not saying that they have the ways because they've been doing that thing where they're blueprinting your mind. They're understanding the layers of your mind. Like you on there, you got reptile, prehistoric mind. Like your brain's got what do you call that? Three.
Well,
Pro-
when it comes to the reptilian brain, you got to understand that that's actually a pseudo science. That was a theory that was brought up by somebody who the rest of the scientific community didn't really agree with.
yeah.
I hate the term
But what
divinity.
I'm just saying, if you want someone to do something, we're not saying that you can figure out a way because you can. Like they show on there, different ways of manipulating people for however you want.
Yeah.
Pictures. You can use sound as well.
Remember, some people are more susceptible to, let's call them let's call it thought control, whereas other people have got a much more stronger mind.
Yeah, but
I mean, you could hypnotize some people, but that doesn't mean you can hypnotize everybody.
Right, and you got to also refer to it as suggestion because that's a very important word.
yeah, but we call it where
It's suggestion. Like I was telling Bob the other day that suggestions do work, but the only way that they work is they have to be profound. Okay.
yeah.
Now suggestions are really something that people overlook. They don't think about it because freaking, oh man, a suggestion, whatever, you make a suggestion, blah blah blah, and they don't understand like it goes a lot deeper than that.
Yeah, because you can use suggestions a whole different other bunch of ways. You can say something, suggest something, but it's way too like it's way the person that you're talking to. If you know certain things about how they feel about certain things, you take that when you suggest it. You suggest it in that specific way that you know how they feel about it.
Well, you don't
Some
even have to.
manipulation rather than
Right.
suggestion.
Well, suggestion is manipulation.
Well, no, not necessarily. I can suggest that you go out and have a cigarette. Just because I suggested it doesn't mean that you've got to go out and have a cigarette.
You're placing manipulation something that's a bad thing, okay? When in reality it's not bad or good, it's just manipulation. We manipulate things all the time, and it's like a suggestion doesn't even have to be spoken. It can be in your gesture, way that you freaking do things. That's how they hypnotize you.
Well, like
Okay, Roger.
yeah. But you know what? We want to hear something about that. Well, for one whole week, no, for 2 weeks when I was in the hospital, I was a bad smoker. Okay, and then them weeks that I was in the hospital, for they like they say on TV about you see the pictures and all that, and well, for some strange reason, my very last time being in the hospital, I haven't touched a cigarette, and I just told my parents to go to where I was living at, get everything out of the house. I had a bag of tobacco and all that. Just pull that all up and out. Because if I was doing good enough not to have the urge for a cigarette or anything else, just to pull that out. And since they did that, I haven't smoked since. And that's been, I guess, 15 years ago. But what I'm saying is that mind over matter, they always say that, if you're determined to make people react in a certain way, okay, you just need to know what is their point of view and their pressure points about things. Because if you want to get someone to go real good,
Oh no, we don't want to get nobody's go rubber. And we are coming up on 2 hours, so I'm gonna call Lions Roundtable quits for the day, and then we'll come back and we'll do another show. Sound good?
Yeah.
Because Robert's getting rowdy now. He's getting rowdy. I wanted to talk about aliens and stuff with him today because I keep forgetting to, and I drive him nuts because I always watch this stuff. And
Oh, there's one movie you probably haven't seen,
I'm
or
really surprised he's actually been positive about it because he's always badmouthed Janae. I mean, every time I turn around, he's like, "Those people are stupid," and then he just starts badmouth.
well, no, I just don't understand certain things.
He's making me out to be wrong, but say because he gets on here and he's all talking about, yeah, I saw this on Ancient Aliens and shit, you know what I mean? And then freaking whenever we're not doing this, he's just bad mouthing them all the time.
Remember, just because it's on TV doesn't necessarily make it true.
That's right. But at the same time, it's like that thing about what they found in Arizona or in the cave where the farmers went into the cave and they found, after they removed the guano from it, they found big giant bones in there. Over 40 giant bones. The tallest one was 7'9", and they found them there in caves. And the tribe that was there a long time ago said that they started firing at them, the giants. They went all in there, and they supposedly made a big old stack of firewood at the entrance of the cave and set it on fire to smother them.
Mm-hmm. Now that's something we can get into later on, but I'm gonna go ahead and end the show. If you guys want to, give socials. Robert, you're usually on. I'm just gonna say you're on Elements with me on Rogers Hangout because we don't have you on any other name. But I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. You can find me and Robert on Elements Matrix at Rogers Hangout. And Mark, do you want to give your socials where people can find you?
Again, mainly on minds.com under the username Medworthy.
You can find me on minds.com under Roger_Hanson. You can also find our group on Minds, is Minds Roundtable, an event which is always getting video posted on there at least once a day. I believe this month we have 2 posts going out. So you guys go on the group on minds.com. You can check us out there. We are also live streaming on Rumble, Twitch, Kick, YouTube, and YouTube. Now on Rumble, Twitch, and Kick, we're doing it on the 24/7 live with Hanson. On YouTube, we are doing it on my main channel, Roger, which also Minds Roundtable. So you check us out if you want to on those platforms. Like, subscribe, share, make comments. We appreciate your feedback, and we will talk to you